chapter, so exactly isn't part of the documents I have, but, okay. If anybody else needs sticky notes, please let me know. We're good? Okay. Senator Shea.
Yeah, I have two questions. So you say you operate independently of the national chapter, as has been stated before. And so essentially what I'm getting is that you solely use their logo or Turning Point's logo and name to promote your organization. Is that not an endorsement of their values?
I would say it's not. I would say that they have their own separate values. We have their name and we use it, but there's a lot of stuff that they do that we don't associate ourselves with. There's a lot of people within the national headquarters that we don't associate ourselves with politically in their opinions. And the other big thing that their name that we use their name for is if we need a grant from them, because they would recognize us as a Turning Point chapter, but that has no bearing on the affiliation.
If I may add on to that, it's like completely student-led too. So there's no pressure from the organization onto us or anything. We choose when our meetings are, we choose what the topics are, we choose when we want to do anything. So it's all student-led, and there's really no like pressure or involvement from the organization into that.
Okay. And then for my second question, so this came from a member in the audience. And they said, this university in my time has been witness to multiple horrific hate crimes against students. Even if you do not endorse discrimination or discriminatory behavior, I need to figure out here. How do you reconcile with the fact that even though your organization does not hold the same views as your national chapter, having your logo and presence may cause anxiety or stress for students of marginalized identities?
Yeah, and whoever asked that question, I thank you for it. And yeah, I truly do feel empathy for those who have been subject to those attacks. That's an awful thing. We condemn that through and through. I would say that's a big part of why we table, and a lot of the misconceptions that are had about, okay, how exactly is this connected to the national organization? Because I would agree that there is some misconceptions on that. And that's a big reason why we do table. We try to have that civil conversation and dialogue to show that we, at the end of the day, we're all humans, we're all students at Drake University. We may have different values, different beliefs, but a lot of the actions and things that have been said or done outside.
So just a quick question. With the other chapters in like in the state of Iowa, right? They're like officiated by the school, kind of what you're wanting right now. Do you know if after they've had that happen that they've had incidences rise because of that? Because now they're more prominent on the school? And if that were to happen here, what would you try to do to, I guess, damage control, level that out, and kind of, make sure that doesn't happen?
Yeah, that's a great question. To my knowledge, there have not been, and there have not been any riots, any backlash to other universities. There has been, most universities, the chapters pass through relatively easily, and there has been no issue since. If something did happen on campus, I think the biggest thing we would try to do is reach out and hear others out and their concerns. I think the biggest thing we want to stress is safety. We want safety of our members, we want safety of people, of other students on Drake's campus and the university, and we want safety of members of the community. But we want to hear what their concerns are. We want to address those. We want everybody to have a voice. That's really important to us because at the end of the day, we don't want to come in and cause division. We want people to be unified. We want to know that, yes, while we may have different values, we may even be the minority in political beliefs or opinions, or at least most of our members and the chapter in itself. We want to know, or we want others to know that we don't come to condemn them, we don't come to cause them harm. We come to basically just coexist.
Thank you.
Senator Milberger.
There's been a lot of talk tonight about your association with the national organization. My questions more relate to what the individual relationship looks like with you guys and them. So you guys are as far as I've been able to understand, attempting to operate relatively independently from the national organization. Just quickly, would you say that most chapters from other colleges operate under that framework?
Yes.
Okay. So, do you have regular contact with the national organization?
Oh, we do. We do have occasional contact with the national organization.
Okay, so do you have a specific person, part of your organization, who facilitates that contact? And when you do have contact with the national organization, what does that contact look like in terms of how frequently do you meet? What kind of things are you discussing with the national organization as a whole?
Yeah, that would be me. I just kind of talk with the organization. I'm just like, hey, we're going to be tabling this day. I might need stickers or something that say like free speech, promoting free speech for when I go table and stuff. That's pretty much it. And we just say, oh, we got X amount of people signed up to be on our contact list who want to learn more about us, and that's basically the extent of it.
Senator Stroud.
So it sounds like you guys are going to lengths to try to remain independent of the national chapter, but if you ever did find yourself in a situation where you needed a grant from the national chapter, do you have concerns that could impact your independence?
I don't think so, because the grants, they would come, basically we would submit a request for a grant, and they would know what we would want the money for, and then they'd give it to us, and we'd be able to use it as we see fit. So it really doesn't affiliate us any more than what we would be if we didn't ask for said grant.
Senator Hendricks.
Yes, hi. So I'm looking at section 3 of your Constitution, the annual events, where it says that you shall co-sponsor at least one event per academic year with the Turning Point USA chapter at a high school in the Des Moines area. I was just curious if you could speak to the success of like the Turning Point USA chapters at high schools here.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually the Johnston High School. They actually just got, I believe they just got approved to be like a Turning Point organization or Turning Point chapter within the area. I believe that there's.
Yeah, we're working on getting high schools like their own official chapters as well. But they're also having the same struggles of getting approved and stuff. But it's really more for like, so they can start their conversations early so that we can continue bringing this civil discussion as we go into the world and we're controlling our own world rather than all the people that are already up there controlling it, because they're not, like, I could think we can all say that they're not all agreeing very well and they're not discussing very well. And I think our point is that we want the younger generations to also get involved in this civil discussion early so that it can continue to grow and grow and prosper with that when we're controlling.
And then a follow-up question. You mentioned that they're having some troubles as you guys are having here. Could you, like, from your guys' perspective, why are they, like, what is the issue that they're having?
I think it's more just like the stigma surrounding Turning Point as well. Just all the statements that people have made separately coming into play.
Yeah, and there's a lot that, like, just as we are pretty disconnected from the national organization, we don't have a whole lot of just involvement with the high school organization. We do interact with them to do certain events, cooperative events, but as far as the approval process, that's usually all on them, and then they have their own standards on how they go about the school administration being approved. So there's a lot involved with that as well. But as far as the event, yeah, we do try to cooperate with them because we think it's good for high school students to get kind of exposure, and because a lot of these students are going to college. So we think it's necessary for them to have a decent amount of exposure to students who would be able to kind of show them some of the ropes and offer them other opportunities that are actually in college.